Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in today's Fighter in Focus, we'll be taking a close look at the Kurnoth Hunter with GREATBOW from the Sylvaneth Warcry Warband. In this video, we'll take a real close look at the Kurnoth Hunter with Kurnoth GREATBOW, and then we'll look at the fighter cards, all the stats, and the abilities too. So I got this model with the Warcry Sylvaneth Warband set, an awesome miniature, and I don't think I've built any miniature that I don't like yet from any warband, but this one's especially cool. I really like the pose, and you've got lots of different variations you can do with the GREATBOW, and so you can kind of put it in different poses. You can have it with an arrow, but I really like this one. I thought that was a really good pose, so I went for that. For the base, I used a mix of different tea leaves to give like a kind of autumn leaf effect on the base. And then around the back, I used some old stick that I dried out in the oven, winter tuff from Army Painter, and some skulls from the Citadel skull pack. And so I was really happy with that. Nice autumn kind of forest floor look. And the tea leaves worked really nice, I think. And I've painted it with pretty much contrast paints. And I went for an autumn theme. So we've got the nice oranges and reds at the tips. And then contrasting that against the blue, I think works really nicely. And for this nice blue colour, I wanted it to look a bit magical, so I used the Nihilak Oxide technical paint to give it a real kind of mystical, magical look. You'll see on the fighter card here, there's loads of different poses you can go with. So you've got the ones where he's standing up, where he's released the arrow, or you can have him here putting an arrow onto the bow. And so lots of different stances as well. So it looks really cool. And he also comes with this little guy here. This is called a Quiverling. And this is a little sprite or spite, I think they're called, that carry the arrows. And so he pulls the magical arrows out of there and then lets loose on his bow. So that's really fun. And you also get lots of little spites that you can attach to the fighters, all the different fighters in the warband. And I'll be using those as I develop and as I play them in different games and we do battle reports. For any fighters from the Sylvaneth Warband that do anything really cool or kind of come out on top, then I'll paint up a little spite and add that to their base. So kind of developing their narrative and giving them a personality as we play through the battles. Let's take a look at the fighter card now. And this is the fighter card for the Kurnoth Hunter with Kurnoth GREATBOW. And this one comes in at 200 points. And he's got the faction rune mark here and another rune mark there for an ability. He's got a movement of 4, toughness 4, and can take 30 wounds. And he comes with 2 weapons, so you can use the range weapon, which has got a minimum range of 3 and a maximum range of 20. And he can make 2 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 5 on a crit. And if you get up close, he can also kind of hit them with his fist or his feet, or even whack them with his bow if he wants to. And this has got a range of 1. He can make 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit. So you can see that second weapon, that's not putting out hardly any damage for a 200 point miniature fighter, especially this guy who's really big compared to other fighters. I mean, if we have a look at him compared to this one from the Godsworn Hunt, it kind of towers above her, and so you can see it's quite big. But you really want to be using this weapon, the bow. I mean, that's what he's all about, and narratively, you want to make use of that, and also in your tactics too. So definitely using this first weapon is going to be the goal here with this guy. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more movement because he is quite big and he's got that big stance. But I guess he's going to be like tied to the ground, like strong to the ground with the kind of feet that are almost like roots, like gripping in. So I guess that's why he's not too fast. But with the movement 4, toughness is good. He can take a lot of damage. But damage output's not going to be high with this one. I mean, you're only making 2 attack rolls, strength 4, dealing 2 to 5 on a crit. So you really are looking to use the ability and also make use of the range. But I'll be using this guy as a leader, and then that's going to change up some of the statistics a little bit. And so I'll swap over these cards. And he's going to come in a few extra points, though. If you use him as a leader, he's going to have a different fighter card, and he's going to have 240 points now. He's going to have the faction rune mark, the same ability rune mark there, but also the leader rune mark. And he's still got the movement 4 and the toughness 4, but now you can see he can take 35 wounds, so he can take a bit more damage. This has also changed a little bit. His weapon range is the same, still 3 to 20, but now he can make 3 attacks instead of 2, and still strength 4, and still dealing 2 to 5 on a crit. And here he's still got this same up close kind of weapon stats, But for that extra 40 points, you're getting an extra attack, you're getting 5 extra wounds he can take, and you're getting the leader ability. So let's take a look at the abilities, and then we can decide tactically what's the best thing we should be doing when playing this guy. So whether you choose to use him as the Kurnoth Hunter or the Huntmaster, he's still going to get this double ability because he's got the faction rune mark. So any fighter with the faction rune mark can use this, whether it's a leader or a regular fighter. And this is a double ability called Draw from the Spirit Song. And it says here, remove a number of damage points allocated to this fighter equal to half the value of this ability, rounding up. So nice and simple. He's kind of drawing from the earth as well and healing himself with the magic powers. And so he can simply remove a number of damage points equal to half the value of the ability. So that's for any fighter or leader with the faction rune mark. And the Kurnoth Hunter and the Huntmaster will also have this rune mark. So they get this other double that they can use called Trample Underfoot. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter and roll a number of dice equal to the value of this ability. For each 4+, allocate 1 damage point to that fighter. So this is great. I mean, if you've got double 5s or 6s, you're going to be able to roll 5 or 6 dice, and then for each 4+, allocate a damage point to the fighter. So not bad for a double. I think you could put out some damage there. But whether you'd use that ability for this fighter, bearing in mind his weapon is mostly a ranged weapon, I'm not sure. But I guess it would be handy if a fighter approaches you, you can shoot one from a distance and then move close to, within 1 inch of an enemy fighter, and then use that double ability just to deal a little extra damage. It could come in handy. But I'm not sure I'd use it that much with this model that I'd be wanting to use from a range. So that's the abilities if you choose the Kurnoth Hunter, the regular fighter. But if you go for the Huntmaster, the leader, you're also going to be able to use this quad because you've got the leader rune mark and the faction rune mark. And this quad is called Envoy of the Everqueen. Until the end of the battle round, add half the value of this ability, rounding up to the toughness and strength characteristics of friendly fighters while they are within 6 inches of this fighter. So this is a good ability, and if you keep him back, maybe even just 6 inches away from the enemy, and then push your other fighters up closer, then you can make the most of this quad and use his ranged weapon as well, without him coming in the kind of line of fire from any close-up attacks. So that could be really useful. And then he could steam in, once the enemy's been weakened, he can just steam in and absorb some hits with his huge, 35 points of damage that he can take, and then that might be a good tactic to use. But this is a good ability for a quad, especially if you've got lots of fighters around you. So if you're going in with maybe a lot of dryads and they're all close to him within 6 inches, you can really add to the toughness and strength of those, and they can absorb some damage and also got more of a chance of dealing that damage too. So there we go. That's the abilities that you can use with this guy. But don't forget, you can also use the universal abilities that come with the game as well. This is the universal abilities card. And you'll see here this double onslaught would have been really good, but in the erratas they've updated this rule, where instead of just adding 1 to the attack's characteristic of attack actions made by this fighter until the end of the activation, now it applies to weapons with a range of 3 or less. So you can't use it with ranged weapons anymore now. But I think you could still be useful if you're up close. You want to use that ability where you hit them or kick them, but it's still not going to do a huge amount of damage. So it's a real shame you can't use that on this guy. But you could certainly use the double rush and increase the movement just by 1 and give him that extra little bit of movement. So that's not a bad one. And also, don't forget you got the quad where you can make a bonus move action and a bonus attack action. So again, he could even move out of range of any oncoming attacks and then make a bonus attack action too. So that could be a useful target for him. Tactic, sorry. I think I'd be looking to use this quad more than any of the others on here. So there we go, that's our Kurnoth Hunter or Kurnoth Huntmaster, whichever one you choose to play. And I think for 200 or 240 points for the leader, I don't think you're getting an awful lot here for the points, and he's certainly not one of the best fighters within that value, that point range. But for me, it just looks cool. I like the idea of having a leader that's got a ranged weapon, and also I like archers, and I like having fighters that are archers. So I really like it, and narratively wise I can build a warband around him, and so that's why I'm including him in my warband, while I'll be using him as a leader until I get the Arch Revenant at least. But yeah, so that's what I've gone for, but you might want to choose something different. I think for the ability wise, you're going to benefit from using the other Kurnoth hunters, and we'll cover those in future Fighter in Focus videos as we move through this series. But they're going to have a bit more up close range, they can make more attacks, and I think they can do a bit more damage. With the changes to that universal ability for the double onslaught, I think that's had a negative effect, certainly on this fighter. But you don't have to use the update from the errata. You know, if you're just playing like house rules and everyone you play agrees, then you could stick to the onslaught described as it is in the core book or on the universal abilities card. So you could still use the onslaught for him if you wanted to, and that's an option you could go with. And really love this miniature, and the Sylvaneth on a whole are awesome. But let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and maybe you've already played with Sylvaneth, so it'd be great to hear your tactics and what you like best about them, maybe even what you don't like. So yeah, join in the comments below. It'd be awesome to hear from you. If you like this kind of content and would like to support the channel, then please take a look at my Patreon page. It's an awesome community where we talk on Discord, share our hobby, help each other out, and you can also get content there each month that you're not going to find anywhere else. So I'll put a link in the description, and it'd be great to see you there. I hope you liked the video, and if there's any models you'd like to see featured in the Fighter in Focus series, then add it in the comments below, and if I've got the miniature, I'll make a video for it. So thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.